Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers and sisters. This is the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy F1 2018 Season 17 round number 5 here at the home of British motorsport. It is, of course, Silverstone. My name is King-Kodiak and I'll be your commentator throughout this evening's race. 19 drivers join us for this midway point in this short season that precedes F1 2019. It is always nice to see a big turnout. My faithful companion, Mr. Hamish Hopworth, is not well this evening. Get well soon, Hamish. We look forward to seeing you back with me next time around. So who have we got then? Well, it's easier to answer who's missing. So, let us have a look at who we have. Vatkan is a new regular driver to go alongside Fabrizio in the Ferraris. Vatkan is out. On track, Fabrizio not yet out. We have got Photon in the Mercedes, who is in the garage, and Gerrix is with us, but still remains in the garage himself. There is Collis in the Sauber. He is joined by VP Mr. Anchor. So both of the Saubers present. We have got Hayes in the Force India, being joined by Viasar Lasse. There he is. We have the Williams pair, Tino and Preschneider. In the Williams cars, of course. We have got the Red Bull of Flying Finn. I think that it's the second Red Bull we're missing. It is indeed. CRG Steve returns to this season in the Haas alongside... Oh, it's because of O-Slick. This time the Haas pair actually together on track as well. The Renaults of Corny and Aresi 91 also out on track. The only person that isn't is Fabrizio. Everybody else is out on track at the moment. The McLarens occupied by Marek and of course Jan Fehler. And the Toro Rossos is ERL Hypers and ERL Mateus. That should be everybody. Who should we pick up on a flying lap? Who hasn't started theirs? That's Photon getting out of one of the Renault's way. Being chased down through... Oh, I haven't got my track map in place. Apologies. There we go. That's Baggers and Beckett's where Photon is coming through. So, Hyper's the first man to get a time on the ball with a 1:25.644. Now, I'm told... there is light rain expected for the beginning of the race. So we're going to have a bit of mixed conditions going on. A typical British summer. Although last year, as mentioned last season, it was boiling hot. I know because I was there. Let's have a full... Oh, hang on. Who's got what fitted? Everyone is running the soft tyres at the moment. Let's have a run through the lap then with Photon as Tino and Preschneider, Corny and Mateus and Hayes all get a time on the board. As we sweep through Abbey, Farm, Village, down towards the loop. And Marek has jumped into 5th position. Oh, bit of a problem in Sector 1. Mr. Anchor slots in 9, Lasse 10. As Photon sweeps through Aintree onto the Wellington Straight. Into Brooklands. Keeps it wide initially, doesn't quite get close to the apex. and launches a little wide. Flying Finn jumping to the top of the board. 25. Even the the initial laps are really close. Through Woodcut into Cops. Absolutely. Whoa! Had to get out of the gas there as the tail suddenly wanted to part company. He's backed out of that. He's just going to coast through Maggins and Beckett. He's still doing a fair amount of speed, but that lap is abandoned. ERS down right the way down. And that is the end of that lap from Photon. Let's have a quick talk about the championship standings. Let's go from the bottom up. We have Aresi and Corny yet to get off the board. Yet to get a point on the board, I should say. Iapani, Lasse and Mateus on 1 point apiece. And then Mr. Anker and Slick on 2. Vatkin on 4. Bearing in mind, Vatkin missed the first round as he joined us a little bit later on. Who is out there? Let's have a look at Steve as he's on an out lap. Where are we? I've lost my thread now. And Marek and Hayes are on 6 points apiece. That takes us into the top 10. So, in 9th position is Photon, who we've just been looking at with 12 points. Scored 4th in the opening round of Australia, but has not scored a point since, unfortunately. Garrix, his teammates, in 8th position on 20. Regular point scorer, but was not with us last time out at Austria. Hypers in 7th position. 3rd place at Bahrain, but has not been able to repeat the feat. Is on 24 points in 7th position. Jan Fader was 2nd in China, but has had a bit mixed results himself. Is on 36 points in 6th place. Collis, very regular point scoring for him. 5th, 6th, 5th, 5th. Puts him in 5th on 38. As he overtook Jan last time around. He's on 38 points, just 2 ahead of Jan, and he is 7 behind Donoso. Fabricio Donoso won at Bahrain and has had a 6th and a 4th since, so we know how quick he can be, but it's those blasted penalties that keep undoing his hard work. In 3rd is Flying Finn, debutant to the league, our current poleman by 16 thousandths of a second. Look at that, the top 6 cars within a 10th of a second just on the banker lap. That's incredible. Even the banker laps are close. But Flying Finn in 3rd. He's been on the podium twice. Third in Australia, 2nd in Austria, and an 8th and a 4th in between. Puts him on 49 points there in 3rd. 2nd is Preschneider. Oh dear, we've lost our... Oh no, I was just thinking that was our server host, but that's actually Donoso. Even still, qualifying laps have been set, so qualifying will not be restarted. Preschneider has been on the podium 3 times. 2nd in Australia, 3rd China and Austria, and 5th in Bahrain. Puts him on 58 points in 2nd, but 35 points in the lead at the moment. Surprised is no one. A victory and a quarter ahead of his teammate is Tino. Mr. Timp, where is he? He's currently 4th on an out lap. Everyone's sticking with the soft tyres. Well, fair enough. He has won 3 of the 4 rounds we've done. He was pipped to the post in Bahrain, but has won Australia, China and Austria in the Williams. Okie dokie. Currently 4th then with the 160. 160? That wouldn't be good. 125.690 as Jan returns to us. Just Photon, Donoso, Vatkin, and Jan Failer yet to get a time on the board. 2 of those 4 are out on track. Slick is not on track at the moment, along with, as I said, Vatkin and Jan. So let's follow Tino through. Hopefully we get a complete hot lap through this time. Flat out through Abbey. Careful through Farm to get over to the left-hand side, and then catches the apex nicely for Village, and then into the loop. Nice and gentle. Patience, patience, patience. Oh, he's backed out of it already. Is he waiting for Preschneider? Preschneider is... yeah, I bet you he is. I bet you Tino is going to slipstream, give Preschneider the slipstream. There's only 3 thousandths of a second between them. But unfortunately, if that's what Tino's plan is, there's a couple of cars in the way. Well, one of them has jumped out of the way. That's Slick in the Haas. If Tino's looking to give Praishnane to the slipstream, he's kind of run away. Where's Tino gone? Well, Tino's floored it again. But he's binned the lap. His ERS is set to 0, so I'm not sure why. It didn't look like he'd invalidated it. Praishnane is still going, though, as he's flying past the old start-finish straight, through Cops and into Maggots and Beckett's. A driver's favourite. I love this circuit, and that's not just because I'm British and it's a British circuit. I just love racing on this particular circuit. Not that I do a lot of racing, of course. Oh, who's that that's potentially in the way? Oh, that's Tino. Here, now is Praishnane getting in position to slipstream Tino then? Was that why Tino backed off? Tino's now turning the ERS up. So, yep, that's what he'll be doing. Praishnane getting on pole though with a 25.359, getting 3/10 over Flying Finn. So still a pretty deal. Whoa, and then Donoso shows up in the Ferrari. 125.268, so nearly a 10th between the two. Oh, and that's, well, there was one of the Force Indias, and Praishnane jumping out of the way. Tino down to 7th, but I'm sure will improve upon that. Interesting, you felt the need to put a lap on these tyres. Is that Vatkin out on mediums? Well. Now the drivers will know that it's going to start in rainy conditions, so Vatkin trying the split strategy or the alternate strategy. Fair enough, nothing wrong with that at all. Oh, who's he got in front of him? That's Garrix. That's winding up for a lap as well, so he might want to try and get some slipstream off the back of the Merc. We'll see. Just himself and Failer without a lap on the board. Where is the McLaren? There he is. That is coming through Aintree, I think. Yep, that's the one into straight heading towards Brooklands, where he finds himself. Problem in Sector 2. Someone's gone off the road. Well, that's not going to bother Jan Failer too much. Through left field, doesn't quite get close to... Whoa! That's more traction than your tyres wanted to give. He's kept his foot in it, though. Feels the need to complete the lap. Still got the ERS turned up to 4. So, he's not binned the lap. 5.5 minutes remain. Donoso still on the top spot by 91 thousandths. Then 3/10 separates Praishnane to Marek now. In the McLaren. I didn't see that lap clock. Great effort from him. But lots of laps to still come in, I'm sure. We'll have the final banzais from everybody. And Jan's turned his ERS down. In he comes. So he had decided to ditch the lap. Flying Finn is back out there in the Red Bull. Hypers is out there in the Toro Rosso. Where is he? That's Maggots and Beckett's he's coming up to now. Where does he re-emerge? That's following through the lap. Or the remainder of the lap. DRS open. ERS still turned up. So he's happy to pursue. And that's one of the Haas behind him. Into Stowe. Ooh, it's so easy to wander too wide on the exit of Stowe. Here we come then. Vale. Penultimate turn. And then Club. Does he improve? 5th with... He's currently 5th with... Oh, well, no, he's now 3rd with a 24.429. I can't read numbers. 25.429. 24.429 would be very impressive. Nice effort there from the AOR esports driver of Hypers. Where is Steve? Steve up to 6th position. Returning to the league. This time racing for CRG, the Comrade Gaming Crew. And the Haas heading down the Wellington Straight. 6th position with a 25.655. The whole field separated by 1.5 seconds, and that's because there's a fair gap between Aresi and Vatkin. You can assume that it wasn't a particularly representative lap from Aresi. Vatkin with a 26.1. Bearing in mind there's only a 10.5 off of the back of Garrix, and Vatkin on the medium tyres. That's a fair effort from the medium shod Ferrari there. I think he did do that on the mediums, didn't he? He did. Interesting. We'll follow Steve through the rest of his lap. Most people in the pits then, and will probably come out within the next 60 seconds. Tino's come out. Mr. Anchor has come out. So Tino did not improve. He's a 10th behind Hayes, as Steve opted not to complete that lap. Slick is out there in the other house. He's put a couple of laps on those tyres, interestingly. Currently 9th, 125.836. Surely he's going to come in with a red fuel light. He does indeed. There's Flying Finn. We know he's done his lap, but he may opt to do another time. But no, his ERS has turned right down. He's just come over the line. That 25.416 up into third, just knocking Hypers off that particular third spot. Nicely done in the Red Bull. A few more people coming out on out laps now. Mr. Anchor is out. Garrix is out. So only Jan Fehler is not on the board. He's just come out. So here we go. Everybody winding up for their Banzai laps. Everyone going for the soft tyres, unsurprisingly. Now it's going to be interesting. If we've got mixed conditions, how long's the rain going to last, and who's going to gamble on the rain lasting longer than it's going to? Or who's going to make the gamble on it being shorter than it actually will be? That I love the mixed conditions as far as commentary is concerned. I'm sure the drivers hate it. They want predictability, and I can perfectly understand that. Here we go. Most people on their out laps now. Who's still in? Hypers, Steve, Slick, and Aresi, the only people in the pits at the moment. Aresi may opt to keep the tyres fresh and start from the tail of the field. Dangerous gamble to take. Starting in the wet, but who knows? Oh no, he's out on his out lap now. And Flying Finn came back in. Well, he is not going to have time to do an out lap now, so he is... Oh, mind you, he not long set that 25.4, didn't he? So his day is done. He will not have time to come back out again. He will start no higher than third position. Denoso is winding up to start his final timed lap. He's got one of the Renaults, one of the McLarens, and his teammate, I think there was, further down the road. Yep, Vatcan. Whoa, that's slightly nauseating. Watching on board with someone weaving away like a lunatic. Oops, that's not going to help. Ferrari seem to have a thing for flat spotting tyres. There's a bit of a spoiler for anyone that hasn't seen the Spanish Grand Prix. Let's follow Fabrizio through then. Our current poleman, 25.268. Towards the loop. Nice and tight to the apex then. Will use as much of the road as he dares. Over the apex of Aintree. Flat out and hard over to the right hand side for the Wellington Straight. Into Brooklands he comes. Stays out wide. Flying Finn predictably has retired from the session. Catches the apex nicely for Brooklands. Now staying tight to the apex for Luffield. Nice exit. Whoa, bit of a slide there. Slick has retired. He'll start no higher. In 9th position with a 25.836. The flag is dropped. Steve will start no higher than 6th position with a 25.655. Heading towards Mackenzie then on board with our pole sitter in the Ferrari. Donoso, the only other driver to have won a race so far this season. Tino taking 3, this man taking another one. And was that Tino that in 9th? No, it can't have been. No, it was Garrix that jumped up to 7th with a 25.6. And then Lasse, 25.7, puts him in 10th. Mr. Anchor, 13th with a 25.8. And Photon with a 25.9. Failer with a 25.8. The entire field separated. If you ignore Areti's time, that's less than a second for the entire field. Praishnag a second with a 25.3. And a 25.1. A backwards facing Force India. What a stunner from Fabrizio Donoso. That was a cracker. Hypers is still going. Most everyone else has crossed the line. Where is Tino, though? He's coming through the last few turns. What is he able to do? ERS turned up to full. Mateus has retired from the session. Can Tino dethrone? No, it's third. 25.393. He matched the time to the thousandth of a second of Hayes. Hypers jumps up into third himself, knocking the championship leader down a spot. Oh, well, we are in for a big old shake-up here at Silverstone. What a great qualifying then. Quite a few people out of position and potential for some upsets, I think. Especially people struggle to get going in the wet. It does depend how much rain there is, but there it is. Fabrizio Donoso will start on the pole spot by a 10th over Preciator. Then it's Hypers, Tino, Hayes, Flying Finn, Collis, Vatkin, Marek, Corny round out the top 10. Then Garrick, Steve, Lassie, Fader, Slick, Mr. Anchor, Mateus, Photon, and Aresi. Ignoring Aresi's time, and that was only just outside of a second. 8/10 the entire field. Wow, wait. Oh, I think we're going to be in for an interesting one. Also, it's going to depend on when the rain stops and who's going to make the gamble first to jump over to the dries. And there it is. So, of course, the start on the tyre you qualified on rule is not applied when there's rain involved, and there's a fair old chance of rain at Silverstone at the best of times. So just waiting for everybody to ready up, and then we will get the parade lap underway. So the tyre strategy I had in place has now, well, it's completely redundant, but it was, if I can get the right button, it was this. So anyone starting on the softs, pitting around 7 to 9. Anyone starting on the mediums, 16 to 18. But that is pretty much out of the window. Now, it was already blue sky visible up top there. So the rain may not last too long. Almost certainly everybody was starting on inters. That's a great camera. Let's move that one. I'm assuming everybody is on intermediates. Yes, they are. Away we go then. And Donoso's interested to get on with it as quickly as he can. Oh, wow. That was rather busy. Oh, that's... who was that? Was lagging. Someone popped back into existence there. One of the Ferraris is a long way further down than where he should be. It's Vatkin, who's having some connection problems. Oh dear. That's never good. That's never good in the dry, let alone when people are having to try and deal with him in the wet. So Vatkin will have to sort that out. There's no particular need for him to overtake everybody, as the AI will do that for him. Photon all the way down there in 18th in the Mercedes. Well, what a stunning lap from Donoso there. Let us see. Around Cops. You see how much the cars just slide. The tyres just not biting in at the moment. This is going to be interesting when they go streaming on down through Abbey and Farm for the first time. And these cars do kind of feel almost clumsy at this kind of pace. They're not designed to be slow. Look at that. What a lovely sight that is, even in the rain. The best pick of the crop for the PC platform. As I'm only missing one driver, so a big field for me to scream about and for you lovely people to watch. Thank you very much to those that have joined us in the stream this evening and cheering on your favourite drivers. Apologies for not being able to keep up with you in the chat, but generally, especially when I'm on my own, there's a lot for me to keep up with as Donoso makes it back to the grid slots. Aresi, the last man, or the starting in the last position. He's just occupying his slot. Who should we jump to? Let's jump to Tino, as he'll be starting on the second row. Actually, the camera's not too bad at looking at lots of people. Here we go then. For a wet starting at Silverstone, it is time to wind them up and let them big old hold, and away we go. A stunning start from Tino in the second row, and a cracking start there from Collis from the I think it was the fourth or fifth row, as they come streaming through the first few turns, everyone being very tentative. As it looks like Donoso's done okay, while the Williams looked like they were coming very deep. Tino already up to third alongside his teammate. What a cracking start for the championship leader. Hayes and Collis fighting side by side. Lots of change of position, as you would imagine. Let's actually switch to There we go. So that's the people that are swapped around, coming up 3 wide, coming down the Wellington Straight into, excuse me, into Brooklands. That's the view from Tino then. A brilliant start for him to clear Hypers and get behind his teammate. Preschneider, you would imagine, is not going to hold up his teammate to any real degree. As they now come streaming on down the road towards Cops, nearly 3 wide again. The Red Bull and Ferrari of Flying Finn and Vakin side by side as they head very wide for the Red Bull. He'll get a warning for that. Garrix has got a lot of company fore and aft. Oh my goodness, Steve trying to do an outside maneuver coming into Magus. That would end disastrously. Whoa, that was corny. Getting very wide, side by side with Lasse as they're coming now through Beckett's out of Chapel and onto the Hangar Straight. It looks like Lasse's going to hang on to that position. Still side by side though as they come up to Stowe. And now the lead up to 7 cents near enough. The Renault and the Force India still side by side. Terrible start for Corny. He's doing his best to try and mitigate that. Getting him back ahead of the Force India. Someone's dived in the pits already. It was Mr. Anchor and the Sauber. And they're still side by side, these two. Goodness me. The Force India having to go onto the AstroTurf. And neither of them are giving any ground on this. And the Renault has managed to get back up into 12th. That was a great series of corners for these two. There, Mr. Anchor in the pits already. Has he had to take a new front wing? Yes, he has. Damage on the Sauber. Never ideal. Jumping back up to the front. Preschneider still the lead of the two Williams. Of course, no DRS when it is wet weather conditions. Streaming through Brooklands into Luffield again. Hypers is not too far off the back of Tino. That's the view from the Toro Rosso. A decent effort for him. He's only lost that position to Tino. Hayes is about 9/10 behind. Then Collis, Flying Finn, roughly equidistant back again. Vatkin is still on the back of the lagging Renault, Red Bull rather. Oh, Flying Finn, very, very, very wide, coming through Cops. I suspect we're going to see quite a few penalties added to the times or certainly in this phase of the race. Lovely static camera there. You see that's Vatkin close to Flying Finn. Well, still lots of people close to lots of other people, as you would imagine, early on in the race, especially in the wet. Here comes Steve in the Haas on the back of Garrix, who is on the back of Marek. Very, very close. You can see the Vatkin Flying Finn battle ahead of them. Nicely done, nice and controlled, very patient from these guys. It would be so easy just to apply that little bit too much pressure on the throttle this early in the race. Donoso with no challenge at all sets the new fastest lap. Tino getting very close to his teammate. Doesn't look like Preschneider is willing to let him go. Of course, he's perfectly entitled to race him. If you're quicker, prove it, kind of thing. Oh, Preschneider gone a little bit deep, coming through Village. Tino won't want to let Fabrizio get away from him. Hypers is looming just half a second behind the Williams pair. There goes Tino. I wonder if Preschneider, it looked like Preschneider either had a terrible exit from Aintree or did decide to let Tino go, because Tino just left him for dead there, but has actually thrown him into the path of Hypers and Hayes. In fairness, in the Force India, Collis is only a second behind, which in dry terms would mean no DRS, but in the wet, that's not really that big a gap. There we go. That is the top 6. Well, top 9, 10 roughly in that shot. As everybody streaming their way through Woodcut and Cops once again into Magazabekis. Magazabekis must be absolutely terrifying when it's in the wet. I've only ever really done it in the dry, and I've thrown any car off the road pretty regularly along that particular section. Now 1.5 seconds the lead for the Ferrari over the Williams. Preschneider now in his kind of rear gunner position, and then behind, 2 seconds behind that particular pack, you've got Flying Finn, Vatkin, Marek, Garrick, Steve, Corny, all in very, very close proximity. A little bit of a gap between Corny and Lassie, but not much. Then Failer, Slick, and surprisingly, Donoso with the new fastest lap. Aresi and Photon. And Mateus a little bit off the back of Photon, but this whole, that's basically 6th to 17th. Near enough, all line astern. That is absolutely amazing stuff. And Mr. Anchor, of course, having to pit early on for a new wing. Oh, that's an unusual line from Garrix. We'll get a bit of a warning for that, I suspect. But, wow, Master of the Rain, certainly, the Baron of Silverstone, Mr. Donoso, is stamping his authority somewhat at the moment, but will the penalties be his undoing? He's got nothing to challenge him at the moment. Tino, I'm sure, will get into his stride. He's got 1.1 between himself and his teammate now. Hypers is right there with Preachnader. That's the view. That's what 3.5 tenths looks like in the wet in these cars. As they sweep through Cops once again. Preachnader, just kept that one legal. As they head into Marcus and Beckett's once again. Downforce, because they're a little bit slower, has less of a role to play, but not no role to play. In the wet, you would typically want higher wings, but of course these guys know that it's going to dry, but they don't know when. So some people, I would think, could probably run a higher wing configuration, hoping for a longer spell of rain. You can see breaks in the clouds up there. They'll have an indication, but not an exact on lap whatever will the rain end. That's the view from Collis looking towards Hayes. Tino now very much in his stride. He's got that gap down to under 9/10 of a second and the fastest lap on the board. In second position, he chases off after Donoso. Collis only 4 tenths behind Hayes, so he's looking for a strong finish. If they finish the way they are now, he'd be quite happy, I'm sure. Lots of people still very, very close, as generally the case early on in the race. Difficult to know where to look. There's Vatkin, who's fallen a little bit off the back of Flying Finn. Nearly a second between them. There's Marek in the McLaren, the lead McLaren. Steve is 1.2 behind. He's kind of divided the train somewhat. Oh, and that's Garrett's getting very, very deep coming into Brooklands. Only just manages to keep Corney behind him. There you've got Corney, Lasse, and Jan Fehler in that pack. Jan has got a bit of a gap. Oh, Jan had a big old snap of oversteer there as he'd struggled to keep the car under control. But this is how they stand at the moment, obviously. But if people have gone for a dry setup primarily, everything will completely change when the slicks come out. At the moment, though, the rain still falls, so no sign of any sunlight. The gap of the clouds disappeared. No, they just weren't quite looking at them. Let's keep an eye on Tino, though. That's his prize. That's his quarry. That is whom he chases for the top spot once again. Look at the amount of left he's having to put in as he comes through club. Turning left into a right-hander is not usually the optimal way of doing anything, but Tino doing what he can in these conditions to keep the pressure on. It's now 2 seconds between Timp and Preachnader. Hyper's right in there to get that, or get into a potential podium position. Long way to go. 21 laps still on the board to do. But this will be a great haul of points for Hypers if he's able to do. Look how sideways Preachnader is coming through Aintree. That's a great effort there. Slipstream for Hypers. Is he going to make a move? He would have been very, very brave if he tried to move, or possibly very foolish at Brooklands. It was a Toro Rosso that buried itself there in free practice 2, I think it was, last year. So he wouldn't have wanted to repeat that, I would imagine. Still 2 tenths between the Williams and the Toro Rosso. Very, very close, sweeping through Cops once again. And there, behind them, Hayes and Collis, in their battle for 5th. Just saw Donoso and Tino go out of the shot there. They're weaving their way through Beckett's, now into Chapel again. Is this going to be an opportunity for Hypers? Probably not. A little bit too far back to try, but he's really keeping the pressure on. Preachnader would definitely know he's there. Now this would lead me to believe that Hypers has gone for a more wet-orientated setup. And I would think probably so is Tino, but we'll see. Could be just, they may well just prefer the rain, or have a particular skill in the rain. Sun drivers do. Oh, bit of a technical problem for Hayes there, as it dropped him back a few feet from Preachnader's car. Oh, now for the force injury of Hayes is getting into his stride, now getting half a second behind the Toro Rosso, or within half a second I should say. Collis is 9 tenths behind them. Everyone else is fairly spread out, so we'll stick with this battle for now. Tino is edging ever closer, lap on lap, turn by turn, to the Ferrari of Fabrizio Donoso. So we will have a challenge for the lead fairly soon. Oh, and Alessi and Slick have just swapped round. As I was saying, that the field are fairly spread out, and suddenly these three are very close together. Oh, Photon dives on the inside of one. Oh, he's not going to try for both of them. Boxes in Alessi behind Slick. Well, that's going to put the Mercedes on the outside. The Renault's got nowhere to go because there's a house in front, and the Mercedes to the side, still side by side as they leave Luffield, going through Woodcote. Are they still going? Yep, they are still side by side. That house is really providing problems for both of them. Slick minds own business, and there we go. There's the first penalty on the board. It's the Red Bull of Flying Finn, and Photon does finally complete the move to get past Alessi into 16th position. After quite a few decent side-by-side efforts there. Steve and Marek are pretty close together. Battle for 9th position. There's Vatkin in the second Ferrari. Right behind them is Corny and Garrix. Very close together. So once upon a time there were 7/10 pretty much between everybody. Suddenly lots of people are then fighting one another. Great to see. Great to see. Hypers still on Preschneider's tail. Tino now within half a second, or what, almost within half a second of the Ferrari. Oh, look how close Hypers was to Preschneider coming through Village Turn. Oh, wow, Preschneider. The more you do that, the less grip you're going to have overall in those tyres. There are a few more brakes. A few more brakes in the clouds. Not a clue. I don't think so. There might be a few, but the rain is not showing any sign of stopping at the moment. Oh, Marek is in trouble. What has happened to the McLaren of Marek? He's suddenly dropped down a number of positions. He's had a problem coming through Luffield. So he's now down to 13th position. He joins his teammate. Oh dear. Problems in the McLaren camp. I've said that once or twice in the real world as well. Whoa, very deep. Coming through Maggots and Beckett's. Now into Chapel. Is Marek going to let Jan go? Jan's not really close enough to make that move anyway. Gets a little bit close, but a bit deep coming through Stowe. That keeps it on the last stuff, and Jan is in. You cannot be changing for slicks. The rain is still, I think, well, still falling. Interesting. Jan going for an unusual strategy there as Hayes gets his name on the penalty board. He cannot be going for slicks. We'll keep an eye on that. Tino, well, there we go. That is Preschneider, Hypers, Hayes, and Collis in that shot. Force India has a little bit of breathing space to the Sauber, but not a lot. The man of the moment for me is Hypers. Doing pretty well in the wet. Hanging on to the back of Preschneider. There's now 4.3 between the Williams pair. Lots of battling still to do. Failure did indeed go back onto the Inters. I cannot see that he would have attempted going onto slicks. Whoa! Tino very close to Fabrizio now. Coming through Chapel. I think he probably caught the Ferrari at a slightly awkward point. Fabrizio defending very heavily the inside of Stowe. Oh, goodness me. Tino went to return to the racing line and just sold it. Sent it on the inside, and that is side by side. The camera not really giving justice to that side by side going on. We cannot see what was going on there. There's Fabrizio outside of Vale to hang on to that. Brilliant. Outside of Club, rather. To hang on to the lead. Oh, Tino nearly clunks into the back of the Ferrari. That was brilliantly done. Several people in the pits. Hayes flying between Vatkin and Steve. Tino trying an outside manoeuvre on the Ferrari. He's going to have the inside line for the loop, and he has muscled his way past the Ferrari as Corny gets on the penalty board. No one chancing the dries yet, but 9 laps is all these Inters seem to be achieving. Okay, so might we see a flurry of pit stops then? Oh, Garrix is on the penalty board now. Oh, steady Fabrizio. Keeps it nice and cool. As he's now going to try and chase off after Tino. Hypers and Prationator now 4 seconds apart. Oh no, beg your pardon, that's the wrong timing. That's up to the leader. They're still very, very close together. There is the Toro Rosso still chasing the Williams as Collis is now 1.2 behind them. So they've still got traction in their tyres. Who else? Lassie and Corny still close together for 7th. And Garrix just slightly further up the road as well. Photon is in the middle of a battle there with Slick and Aresi. Mateus is 7 seconds further down the road. They haven't pitted yet. The leader of the pitters is actually Hayes. So Hayes has come out ahead of Vatkin in the pit stops. By quite a way by the look. 5 seconds separates the Force India and the Ferrari. Keeping an eye on that lead battle now. They've gone past the pits, so they're not interested in coming in yet. And by the rate of knots they're going through, the likes of Farm and Abbey, they are not showing any signs of want of needing to come in either. In the slipstream for Fabrizio, he's moderating his ERS usage. Send that down to 0, just keeping the pressure on, making sure that Tino knows full well he's there. No sign of the rain. I'm trying to see if the rain still falling. Yeah, the rain is still coming down. Oh, Jan Fader on a fresh set of interboots is now on the fast lap board, and Steve gets on the penalty board. Nicely done for the Haas down there in 16th. I reckon that rain is showing signs of slowing down, so we might be seeing the tracks start to dry up. A bit difficult to tell the difference between the rain and the spray. I reckon the rain is starting to slow. So we should start seeing the clouds breaking up soon. If that is correct, but way, way, way too early to be thinking about slicks. Jump into hypers. Oh, who was that coming in? It's Donoso. Tino carried on. And Donoso's had enough of those tyres. I'd say that rain... Has it stopped? No, it is still falling, but only just. There is not a lot of rain falling now. Several other people in. Donoso, Prationator, Garrix and Lasse all in. I wonder if Tino's going to try and carry on until the rain actually stops. If he could pull that off, bearing in mind that, almost everybody, well, I'd say almost everybody, 2/3 of the field have ditched their starting inters, that would be a hell of a feat. So Hyper's in up to 2nd, Collis 3rd. Corny 4th, Marek 5. Slick still has front of a company. Flying Finn on the new inters. Takes the fastest lap. He is in 17th at the moment. As Garrix and Lasse coming out on fresh inters. I don't think it's going to be long before we're going to start thinking about that crossover point. So I'd say that rain has very nearly stopped. We're seeing definite more blue in the sky now. The giveaway is always when the spray stops. Way too much of it for now. But I bet you that is what the top, 9 of the top 10 are thinking of doing. If that's the case, Fabrizio has got a lot of work to do. Oh, Aresi is now on the board, on the penalty board. Tino's in. He's pushed his tyres no further. Yeah, there's definitely rain still falling. So he cannot be going on to dries. Hypers carries on. Collis is in. Interesting that Hypers has opted to continue the push as a Prationator and Mateus swap round. And that's Photon in. Bit of a lock-up then from the Toro Rosso of Hypers. I think several people are gambling on trying to tiptoe around to make their inter tyres just last as long as they need. By the look of it, they have to be very, very careful. And Tino is ahead of Denoso. They're staying out those few extra laps. Well, he was only just ahead when they came in, but now there's 1.6 between the two. So the overcuts worked pretty well for Tino. Preishnader's got a fair bit of company. Hayes, Collis and Mateus are pretty close. That's a view from the Toro Rosso. Ooh, steady. There's very little rubber left on those tyres, I dare say. So we will see what others are planning to do. What is Hypers going to do this time? Into Stowe. Is he coming in or is he... Oh, he's chancing it. I'd say the rain's stopped now. Or near as damn it. Hypers, he's committed to this now. He is committed to trying to dry the track up as much as he can to get out on slicks to try and negate a pit stop. You brave, brave man. Well, basically, those haven't stopped. So there's Hypers, Corny, Marek, Slick, Aresi, and Mateus all doing this. Well, technically, Mr. Anchor came in on lap 1. And Denoso finding more traction on those fresh inters than those around him, which is not a surprise. Oh, he's still very squiggly, and that's on fresh inters. So those on worn inters must be having a hell of a time trying to keep their car under control. There's Tino catching to the back of Aresi. And there is Slick as well. That's 4th and 5th. In the race at the back of the shot was Preishnader and Hayes, 8th and 9th. Whoa, steady. You can see how much the Ferrari is still sliding around, still having to rally his way through Luffield. So I think those that are pushing their luck on very worn inters, we'll see. I mean, if it can save them a pit stop, they can afford to be, a couple of seconds a lap slower for a while, but not for that long. It all comes down to how quickly the track dries out. The rain has definitely stopped now. It's all going to be down to when the spray has gone, when that all crucial crossover point occurs. There goes Tino on the inside of Aresi, and the Renault not putting up any real fight there. Not surprised, Tino keeping that one just about on the black stuff at Stowe. His next target is Slick. So Tim going for the option of blast it as much as I can to get towards the front again. The fastest lap on the board, not surprised. Denoso, he's essentially stuck behind Aresi. He's losing time behind the Renault. He's going to have to try a very brave move. Oh, he nudges the back of the Renault. Oh, he was very close to it. Now gets the inside line for Village. That would have cost him a few tenths. He was lucky it didn't cost him a chunk of front wing. As Tino now is sizing up Slick for that 4th position. Side by side to the Haas. He's going to have the inside line for Brooklands. It will be a fairly straightforward move for Tino, with the extra grip in his tyres. Up into 4th. What's his gap to lead? 17.9 seconds between himself and Hypers at the moment. So Hypers, I think, is losing at least 2 to 3 seconds a lap on those near dead tyres. As he streams on down towards Luffield now. He won't want to pit, but I'm assuming he's not going to. No, he's remaining out there. Oh, he runs the risk of a puncture as well. The wear just will get to a point where... Great sentence. Just the tyres can't hold on anymore. Like it or not. So it's big gamble for those up front. But Tino pressing on like a madman to negate the disadvantage of the extra stop. We know how quick he is. He's not afraid to get his elbows out, as we've seen many times in the season. as he is looking at Marek, and that's Aresi in. Aresi is not prepared to make the gamble any longer, but is he going to go to slicks? I'd say it's too early for that. You can see the spray coming off the tyres in the pit lane at slow speeds. What's he got lined up? Vatkin getting on the penalty board? No, that's another set of inters for the Renault. It's not paid off for Aresi. Tino is getting ever closer to Marek. That's the view from the Williams to the McLaren. Oh, it's a shame. Aresi was looking strong to get some points on the board as Donoso's gone past Slick into 5th. That's 2.5 seconds between the Williams and the Ferrari now. So Donoso definitely losing time in the traffic. Well, technically not traffic because that is for position, but it's just it's slower because of the tyre wear issue. Oh, steady. Oh, Tino, don't try something in there. Just sit behind the McLaren. And he does. He knows not to try something silly through Beckett's, through Maggers and Beckett's out of Chapel. Surely this is going to be pretty straightforward for the Williams. Marek stays in the inside line. Ooh, he's going to force Tino to go around the outside. He's gone deep. He's had to go deep at Stowe. Has he got the traction? Of course he does. Through into 3rd for the Williams. So you can expect Donoso to close in pretty quickly. Where's Hypers? He's still going. He wants to negate the extra pit stop. At this rate, he'll be thrown into the jaws of Tino anyway. Look at the amount of right-hand steer he's having to put in through the loop and Aintree, all sideways. You know, the Ken Block initiate. And I bet you he's having to pretty much do the same thing everywhere. Very, very delicate. Only just crawling over 60 at the apex of Luffield. That's going to be interesting. Where's Tino? So he's coming in at the same point. Let's see how much extra speed that Williams is able to put into that. Well, no extra speed at the apex, but got on the power much earlier. Oh, Donoso's already caught up to Marek. So the Ferrari now looking to follow suit. Marek Slick and Corny, along with Hypers, playing the same gamble, along with Mateus, but Mateus is already a long way down, so he's got nothing to lose. Oh, and again, the Ferrari catching someone in the Magus Beckett section. Oh, wow, he was slightly less patient than Tino. He wanted to get the power down as he came out of Chapel. He's going to have the inside line for Stowe. He doesn't have to risk running wide at that 15th turn. And that is Hypers in. Now, is Hypers going to go on to dries? It would be too early, I would say. He has. He's going on to softs. Oh, my. I bet you he's had to. There was just nothing left in those tyres. I don't reckon the gambles work, but wouldn't be the first time I've made that prediction and I've proven to be wrong. I mean, look at the amount of spray still coming off the tyres. Surely Hypers is just going to be nowhere. But we'll see. Stranger things have happened. Oh my goodness, look at the understeer coming through, going through Village. There is Vatkin. There's skates around the outside of the Toro Rosso. Yeah, that has undone itself very, very badly for Hypers. It's 2 to 3 laps at least too early. But I dare say he had no choice. Mr. Anker in again. I wouldn't be surprised if he retires the car. Oh, and yep, Hypers just cannot keep it on the road. That's a shame, but you can't blame him for trying it. However, his hand would have been forced as to, well, no, Hypers, we don't use that pit lane anymore. He's having to reverse to get out of there. Oh dear, oh dear. Let's not torment you any longer. Oh, there's Tino getting the lead back from Corny. Corny led for a while. Whoa, and Tino going very wide. Mr. Anker did indeed go on to softs himself, but he will have much the same trouble as a former race leader. Look at that, first and nearly last within a lap. I would give it another 2 laps or so. Oh dear. That's not really a surprise. Hyper's unable to keep the car under control. Has got himself a set 5-second penalty. A shame, but that is the nature of taking the gamble. May yet still pay off for others. Oh, Steve, that was somebody else. I didn't see who the other person was getting a penalty there. So Tino back in the lead. Donoso is... Oh, Hypers again. He's speeding in the pit lane now, so he's going to be... And Hypers is out. I'm not surprised. And he's straight out of session as well. That's a shame, because if that gamble had worked, it would have been such a heroic gamble. It would have gained him a lot. But, alas, did not pay off. Oh, Slick and Collis side by side. There they are, the Toro Rosso and the Haas. Oh, well defended there by Collis to hang on to 7th position from Slick. Oh dear, Mr. Anchor is speeding in the pit lane as well. They couldn't slow that down before getting to the end. Is he going to park the car, or is he going to come back out on Inters? He'll only need them for about 2 to 3 laps. And yeah, I thought that was going to happen. Mr. Anchor is out. The 2 cars trying the dries too early have both paid the price for it. Oh wow, Slick has lost a lot of time coming through Magnus Beckett, but then his tyres are very, very dead, so I'm not surprised. He's struggling to keep up with Collis, who has changed his tyres already. There's very little spray now. Oh, Preschneider and Merrick have swapped position. The McLaren down another. Oh, and there's Hayes looking to do the same thing, or has done the same thing indeed. As Donoso, oh, the warning strike again for Fabrizio Donoso. It's not. Oh, there's Mr. Anker's car. Well, that's interesting, because Mr. Anker's retired in the pit lanes. Why his car's come out again? That's a bit of a mystery. Oh dear. Oh, Flying Finn again. Oh, look at the amount of opposite lock going on the McLaren. Well, he's committed to it. He's pushing those tyres much further than you would imagine. Connie in 3rd, though, in the Renault. Trying his best to make the strategy work. His pit light is on. There's not a lot of spray coming off the wheels now, so we're getting to a point. I still say we're a little early on it, but we are getting to that crossover point that Hypers was aiming for. It sadly did not come early enough for him. Tino seems to be hanging on to the track pretty well. There's Donoso in the background. The penalty he's got won't make a difference at the moment, with the time gaps to those behind. Now, what's Tino going to do? I would imagine Tino's going to carry on going for now. He does indeed. Fairly fresh tyres on his car, nothing to... You might actually see them out to the end. I mean, bearing in mind this rain was only listed as at the beginning of the race. We only have 7 laps to go. Not even that, 6 laps to go now. As Marek has lost a position to Collis. But those that... we could see something like 5 laps on the dries. So we're going to see, I would think... Whoa, Tino! That was wide coming through Farm Curve. I wouldn't be at all surprised if we start seeing people gambling to stay on their Inters whilst others are making the dries work. And there again. It looked like it was a fair amount of opposite lock going on there in the Williams, but keeps it nicely under control. There's Donoso in the background. Hayes and Preschneider are fairly close together, but the Force India falling off the back of the second Williams. Oh, wow. The Haas and the Ferrari of Vatkin and Steve side by side. The Ferrari just about fending off Steve. 8th, 9th and 10th on the Wellington Straight, streaming on towards Brooklands then. Slick is on 20 lap old tyres. That's his starting Inters he's on. Oh, wow. Here comes Steve to try and nail the Ferrari. Oh, can't quite get it done, but Slick can't get the traction when he needs it. Now through Woodcut, heading towards Cops. Vatkin on the outside with fresher tyres, and Steve nowhere to go. Nearly hits his teammate. Then just a tiny tap on the Ferrari. And Garrix is through as well. And the Mercedes springing out of nowhere within 2 corners. Slick is down 4 positions now as Flying Finn's joined in this fight. Wow, goodness me, where on earth did everybody come from? The game for... Oh, Slick! Oh, goodness me, your tyres must be slick by now. That is absolutely amazing stuff. His race is just disintegrated around his ears. Is he going to try the dries? Someone came in. It's Marek. Oh, he couldn't slow his car down. And Steve came in as well. I bet you anything they're going on to dries. Another battle forming here. Hayes. Oh, where did Corny go? Corny was wide. Again, nothing left on his tyres. I mean, that must be down to canvas by now. Marek, Steve, and Failure. So both McLarens in. Oh dear, they're going to be stacking. Oh, the other ones. Has the other one already gone? He has. Yep, out come the soft tyres. I'd say that's about right. Mateus is in as well. They've got nothing to lose. I'd say now is probably the right time to make the change. But with only 5 laps to go, I wouldn't be surprised if the front runners stick with their... Well, their inter tyres are okay. They'll be a bit struggling. They'll be a bit hot towards the end. Well, let's see how Marek is doing. Marek is the first one out. Oh, still spray coming off the tyres, interestingly. Tiptoes around the... Wow. That's Steve right behind. He seems to have gotten up to speed okay on the softs. More so than the McLaren. Inside move into Brooklands. Bearing in mind, that's still going to be quite wet through the... You know, went offline. So that's quite a brave move from the house. Very, very... Oh! Where did Marek go? Marek's really struggling on the soft type. Steve, interestingly, seems to be doing alright. Or comparatively speaking. As Corny is in. Slick has lost another... Whoa! Slick has only just kept it out of the wall. Whoa. That would have woken him up. Corny in the pits in the Renault. He's going to be going on to soft tyres himself. Surely Slick's got to come in. Yes, he does. He's coming in sideways. Can he slow it down? Yes, he can. So the last of those that still had their starting tyres on have now come in. Now we're trying to keep an eye on Steve. Where is he? There he is. Very, very tentative through Stowe. May still be too wet, but he is living with it. He hasn't flown off the road. Through Vale. Into Club. Now if he suddenly sets the fastest lap border light, then we know well, that is the way to go. Corny is out. And does he set the fastest lap? No, he doesn't. Not at the moment. Oh, look how slow Corny is coming through the loop and into Aintree. So may yet still be too early, realistically, for the dries, but it can't be far away. Here's Tino again coming through Stowe. I doubt the front runners are going to change now. There's only going to be 3 to go when Tino crosses the line. Looked like Slick had a rear left. It wouldn't surprise me if Slick did have a rear left puncher. Ah! DRS enabled. So the race director feels it's dry now. There's a good indication. Now, who's going to gamble on staying on their inters to avoid... Oh, that's Vatkin and Flying Finn both... Oh, there's a big stream of cars there. Vatkin, Flying Finn, Garrix and Lasse all coming in. And most of them, Photon as well. 3 of the 5 at least got a 5-second stop go for that, which will, I think, turn into a 10-second one. And the Resi as well. So lots of people switching over to the softs. That's going to put the pressure on the top 5 who haven't come in. And I wouldn't be surprised if they don't at all. Ooh, this is going to be interesting. Corny now making his way through the field. Corny now up to 6th. He should be up to speed now with his tyres. You've got to be careful, but he could do it. 48 seconds off the lead, 32 seconds behind Collis, who could well struggle with worn, overheating into tyres. It's going to be interesting. Keep an eye on that gap, 5th to 6th, between Collis and Corny. If that absolutely disintegrates, then we know that the soft tyres are definitely the ones to be on. Unsurprisingly, Tina looks to continue. Collis and Hayes are still fairly close together. Force India to the Sauber. Donoso's in. Now that I didn't expect to see. He wants the fastest lap, I would think. And Hayes is in as well. Okay, well, there went that prediction that none of the top guys would come in this close to the end of the race. Well, Tino's not interested in getting rid of those tyres yet. So where's Dinoso going to reappear? He will be... There goes the Force India. Oh, that's not a great camera. Hopefully Fabrizio's not had a problem. That is Collis, so 16 or so. Yeah, there is Dinoso down to 4th then. That's a strange decision. Very, very strange decision. That's Corny. Unsurprisingly, gets the fastest lap. So, I'm... surely Dinoso was on for a second there, but he made the change. Steve now with the fastest lap. So it looks like, unless Simp and Prationator fall off the road, there's still 15.6 seconds between Dinoso and Collis. Yeah, that fastest lap is going to change between everybody on the soft tyres, I dare say. Strange idea then from Dinoso. He wants the fastest lap. It doesn't earn you anything in this game. But that's what he's gone for. Mateus from 17th gets the fastest lap. Just a reminder, is he still with us? Well, that's Tino starting the 26th and final lap. Prationator 11.5 behind him. And Collis 3.3 behind him. Dinoso's going to be quick, but certainly not quick enough to make up another position unless Collis falls off the road. Also bearing in mind that Dinoso's got that 3-second penalty to deal with as well. I think a lot of people gambled on the rain disappearing a lot earlier than that, but then if you're told if it's going to be at the beginning of the race, you don't expect it to go as long as it did. But that's the British summer for you. Well, another new fastest lap, 33.3 now, and Steve with another penalty. I mean, watching that gap between Dinoso and Collis just absolutely vanish. But is it going to vanish quick enough? Where is Collis? Okay, so he's coming out of left field, and Dinoso is coming through left field himself. You could just hear how the rear wheels are spinning up. And there's Tino. So, unless he parks it, this is going to be win number 4 for the Williams. Through Stowe for the final time. Down into Vale. He's played the strategy perfectly. Has Tino. Your winner here in Silverstone. Sideways for extra style. It is Tino and now Karanen. Photon getting a penalty in the dying moments of the race. Second again is a Prationator. The Williams 1-2. Nicely done. Collis is going to come over the line in 3rd place. Dinoso, in fairness, was not far behind. So Dinoso did what he, pressed on to try and get back up the field, but finished in 4th in the end. Hayes, 5, taking the fastest lap. Corny takes 6th position. Vatkin in the next Ferrari. And, wow, my board's gone crazy. Lasse, Flying Finn, another penalty. Oh, my word, that's a lot of craziness going on. Yeah, there's an unserved stop go for Photon, which he may well get appealed, but we will see lots of penalties going on the board. So eventually, we all know who's finished where. Mateus is going to be the last man over the line. That's Stowe, he's come through. Towards Vale. Through the penultimate turn into Club. And that is everybody over the line. I think the Toro Rosso got the fastest lap at the end there. Well, that was a race of mixed fortunes and unusual decisions. And it's the Williams 1-2 again. Fair play to Tino for getting the strategy absolutely spot on. But fair play for Dinoso for trying it. Didn't pay off for him this time. Quite a few people making gambles, but alas, did not pay off for quite a few of them. So, to confirm the finishing positions, this is of course before any stewards get involved. It is Tino, Preschneider, Collis, Donoso, Hayes, Corney, Lassie, Vatkin, Flying Fin, Garrix rounds out the point-paying positions. Then Slick, Steve, Failer, Photon, Aressi, Marek, Mateus, Mr. Ankin, Hypers not seeing the flag. Okay. Let's see who wants to have a chat to me. We need to actually get into the com box. Oh wow, I have several people wanted to have a chat to me, so let's grab them all over. Oh, they were sitting there being quiet. You spoil my fun, gentlemen. Hello to you all. Who should we have a chat with first? Let's have a chat with Jan Failer. Well, a bit of a mixture race for you, Jan. It looks like you struggled a bit in the rain.
Yeah, I had a few technical issues during the race. I think I might have to clean up my PC or something because, I mean, since China, I get screen freezes, which I never got before because it was fine in season 16 and I didn't change any settings, so I don't know what's going on there. I wouldn't say that was the main reason for today, but of course that didn't help. And yeah, I didn't like the fact that everyone followed me into the pits for their first pit stop so quickly. I thought that would be a masterpiece of strategy there, but well, everyone else covered it, so it didn't really work out in the end. And then the track dried up a bit too late because I knew that I'm pretty strong actually when the track conditions are just about dry but not really dry, you know. But yeah, that came a bit too late and my gap was way too big in the end. I managed to get no penalties at the end, which was the main target as well, because I knew that would probably give me a few positions in the end, but well, yeah, again, the gap was too big in the end, so it didn't help.
Better luck next time, as they say, Jan, and we look forward to chatting to you again. Mr. Donoso, hello to you.
Hello, good evening, guys.
A bit of an unusual decision to pit so late.
Yeah, to be honest, I should have pit a lap earlier or not pit at all. But yeah, I decided to pit just to take the risk. It didn't pay off, but anyways, I wasn't going to get the win tonight.
I mean, was the track really ready any earlier than when you pitted?
I think one lap earlier, yes, it was. But yeah, too late then. And the race was pretty clean from my side. Tino was quicker today in the rain. Hopefully next time we don't have a rain race, so we can see a dry race face. But anyways, congrats to him, congrats to the podium, which I missed by doing the mistake to pit. Anyways, I enjoyed that one. It was still good to do the pole. And yes, I'll be back next week.
Awesome. We will see you then. Mr. Preschneider, hello to you.
Hello.
Well, you kind of... Well, you had a comparatively uneventful race. You had a lot of defending to do, and then didn't fall off the road, seemed to be your way of doing it. Is that about right?
Yeah. Essentially, in quali I was deciding between wet or dry setup again, and I stick to dry setup. But yeah, I got P2 in quali. But for some reason the pace just wasn't there in the wet, and it's definitely something I will need to work on, because I was way slower than Tino and Fabrizio, and not much I could do. I will definitely need to work on my pace. But, yeah, it's another podium, so I'm happy. I mean, I'm still keeping my Nick Hartwell impression. It's now 9th podium in a row without a win, so
nice.
Yeah, it was a pretty good race, and I'm happy with P2.
Awesome stuff. You'll get on the top spot eventually when your teammate lets you. Tino, hogging all the wins. Well, Mr. Nakarinen, what can we say to you? Once again, a masterclass. There were quite a few times when you had to put quite a lot of opposite lock on, so Was there memories of tyre exploding on final lap in your mind, or were you pretty confident the tyres would last?
I had no idea. My tires were 80% in the end, so.
Oh,
but
wow.
I was literally driving like 5 seconds of the pace in last lap, just not to get a puncture.
Yeah, the memory's still clear in my mind. I'm sure yours as well, of disaster on the last lap. So,
Indeed.
so the strategy you played out was that exactly what you had in mind? Just to leave the inters on until the end, or was there a point where you consider going on to the dries?
No. Like
Plain and simple.
Well, like the pit stop is 35 seconds or like something like that. I was saying to Philip in the car, like if there's like 2 laps or like 3 laps to go, just don't pit because the pit stop is so long. Like it's no point. Just too stupid risk. But yeah, that's why I just kept going.
Well done on another win, Tino, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. One more man that's joined us in the commentary box is Hypers. What could have been? You must be pretty fed up with your pit crew on this one, Hypers.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, the game just told me to pit for dries, which usually is a sign of the dries being fast. So they wanted me to pit for softs. I did. It didn't work out. I'm like, if I would pit for inters as everyone else, I would get at least P3. And I'm just so gutted for that. I guess I gotta move on though. I'm happy with my pace. And yeah, I'm just wanting to move on, and that's another good lesson.
I like the attitude. Good job on you, Hypers, for that one. How much kind of life do you think was left in the tyres at the point that you came in? Because it looked like they were going on and on and on and on and on.
I was in a puncture zone when I pitted, and knowing my lag, they would explode at like in any second. Yeah, I just wanted to pit, and the fact that the team wanted me to pit, they said alternate strategy, pit for dries, and I was like, yeah, I think this is it. Let's pit, and it didn't work out for some reason. I don't know. I have no clue why the game called me for a pit stop. So yeah, I'm just gutted because, as I said, it could have been a great result.
Indeed. Well, head up and look forward, as they say. We look forward to chatting to you again in the future. And that is going to be it for this evening. Thank you very much to those that have been with us throughout the stream. A great pleasure to have you with us. Thank you very much to our sponsors. Without you guys, AOR would not continue to grow. We'll be back for Germany next week, so do come back to us then, but there's plenty of racing in between then and now, so come back to us for all that as well. Until then, thank you very much, and good night.